What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Live Locks presented by Scores and Odds. If you haven't checked it out already, just making bad life choices, going over to scoresandodds.com where you got picks from me, Meansy, Dino, all the greats. Plus, you get access to our nice little prop shopping tool where you can see exactly what we have projected for each individual prop, plus where the best lines at. And most importantly, you get access to Grant's Action Lounge. What is Grant's Action Lounge? Well, it's my Discord where I'm throwing in all my picks. We absolutely crushed it in the Action Lounge yesterday, just destroyed it. Probably one of my best days of the entire year. So let's see if we can keep this going. I got a boatload of bets today. I got some football. I got some basketball. We'll just start off with some football. Devonta Smith under 54.5 receiving yards. You can get that minus 101 over at Caesars. Smith, while he started off the season great, had 190, 160, whatever. Massive game earlier on the season. He's had a downtick in production recently. Has hit the under in each of the last 3 games. The game script really doesn't look great for him. Sitting at 10.5-point spread, they're likely going to be throwing the ball later on in the game. It's football. Anything can happen. But overall, this is probably a spot where the line is a bit too high. Next up, Taylor Heineke under 14.5 rushing yards. You can get this minus 110 over at DK. Heineke, well, he's been solid with his legs so far this season. Looking at his median outcome last season, this number is just a little bit too high. It's not a great game script. It's going up against a tough Phillies defense. While they aren't great against the run, they are still pretty dark. They're one of the best in the league versus the pass. Easy under. Brian Robinson over 33.5 rushing yards, minus 105 at win, and over 9.5 rushing attempts. Over at minus 120 at DK. Robinson, well, this isn't a great game script, sitting at a 10.5-point spread with the Commanders being a massive underdog. Overall, from that gunshot wound, he hasn't been great, but he's going up against one of the worst run defenses in the league in Philly, currently sitting at 27th in DVOA, number 1 in the league in EPA, number 2 in worst rush success rate. So Robinson, I think they're going to feed him a little bit. While this could end up being a blowout, it could just be done for. 10 rushing attempts and 34 rushing yards is not that high of a mark, and I think they'll continue to run the ball all the way into the third quarter, even if they're trailing. Jalen Hurts over 41.5 rushing yards, minus 110 over at DK. Hurts has been pretty solid so far this season, rushing yards, sitting right around this number for the season in terms of his average rushing yards. But the attempts have been fantastic this season. In prior years, last year and the year before, he averaged 5.6 rushing yards per attempt. This season, sitting at 3.8. So considering the volume, considering his prior success running the ball, I think that overall this number is drastically too low in this spot here. I'm rolling with the over. And John Bates under 8.5 receiving yards. He's not getting a reception. You can get that minus 120 over at MGM. Got some basketball here. Let's start it off. Mason Plumlee under 20.5 points, rebounds, assists. Realized that I didn't put the link for the Discord in the chat. It's scoresandodds.com/Discord. So if you have RG subscription, if you have a Scores and Odds subscription, it's pretty simple. Go to scoresandodds.com/Discord. We're crushing it over there. It's that simple. And we're currently running a basketball pass. I think it's still $169.99 for a few more days to get the entirety of basketball season. You get all sports for that. They messed up. So you get all sports during that 6-month span, only paying like $30 a month. It's a great deal. Just absolutely fantastic. Get all my picks before the lines move. Plumlee under 20.5 points, rebounds, assists. This moved pretty drastically. Washington over 1.5 assists. That's PJ Washington. Over 1.5 assists. He is sitting at minus 112 on the over at Sportsbook, or at Superbook rather. And he's sitting at minus 118 over at Sports Illustrated if you have that in your state. While he has not been great for assists, he's still averaging 1.5 on the season. There's a pretty solid overall spot. Malcolm back, I think, should help him out a little bit. 1.5, just too low of a number. Kelly Oubre under 18.5 points in this spot, minus 110 over at DK. Oubre has been really solid so far this season, but LaMelo coming back into the fold, so you should see a decrease in usage from Oubre here. 18.5 is probably inflated because of his last 2 good games versus the Heat. I know there's a solid spot for him here, but this number is too high. Horford, I don't know if you should listen to me on this. I keep hitting his unders, and it keeps going terribly. I got the under I got the under of 22.5 points, rebounds, assists at -108 on FanDuel. Under 2.5 assists, +110 over at FanDuel. Both of them, I think, are solid overall lines. For the under, I keep getting it wrong, so do what you want with that. I'm just letting you know what I bet. Smart under assists, Smart under points, rebounds, assists. Both over FanDuel, both moved as soon as I bet them. Here's a solid one. Jason Tatum under 4.5 assists, +125 over at TK. I think it's moved to +115. Still like it at +115. Well, he's averaging 8.1 potential assists per game on the season, all the way up to 8.8, I believe, over the last 7 games, which is this month, where we've seen an increase in assists. That's why this number is so high. He's been outplaying his potential assists with his assist numbers. Getting even money or getting plus money on this is big positive EV. I currently have it as a slight lean overall to hit the under, meaning that this line is just, it should be at -120 on the under, and we're getting +115. So easy under. Tatum under 8.5 boards, -140 at win. I know there's a lot of juice. Same with Horford under 8.5 boards, but they're averaging well under that so far on the season. Tatum, I think, is at 7.1. Maybe 7.4, I can't remember which, on the season. It's an easy under in this spot. Tatum, I'm taking all his unders, under 30.5 points, -110. Again, I don't think he's going to do a ton in this game. All the numbers are too high. He's been crushing recently, but OKC, the real problem with them is offense, not defense. They're a solid defensive team, rolling with the under. Marcus Morris, over 11 or over 5.5 rebounds, -111 at FanDuel. I think that's moved. Reggie Jackson under 14.5 points, -105 over Fox. It's sitting at -120 in most other spots. So go on over to Fox Bet, and if you have it, bet that. DeJounte Murray under 7.5 assists. That's already moved. Giannis under 6.5 assists. That's already moved. Carter over 2.5 rebounds, -128 over at FanDuel. I think that one's still there. That's a solid line. He's going to play a boatload of minutes with all the injuries that Milwaukee currently has. So line's too low. Giannis under 12.5 rebounds, -125 to win. That one has not moved yet. Giannis, well, he's an incredible rebounder. Always a chance that this game ends up being a blowout. Plus 12.5 is just a bit too high. If it goes down to 11.5, I generally hit the over. If it's at 12.5, I generally hit the under, depending on the matchup. Let's see. Jaden Ivey under 27.5 points, rebounds, assists. This line got elevated because of the fact that Cunningham's not playing. I still don't think Ivey's as good as this number would imply. I think this number is elevated far too much. I'm rolling with the under. OG Anunoby under 30.5 points, assists, rebounds, -104 at Caesars. There's another line where everyone's out, so this number's probably elevated a little bit too much. I think that this is too high of a number here. I'm rolling with the under. Saddiq Bey over 4.5 rebounds, +130 at DK. How this is at +130, I have no idea. Saddiq Bey is averaging this on the season. No Cunningham in there. Should see an increase to rebounds. This is far too low of a line. Bogdanovich under 3.5 boards, -110 over at DK. Too high of a line. Jimmy Butler under 6.5 rebounds, +115. I have this at over a 50% chance of winning. We currently have him projected for under this number over at Scores and Odds. Getting +115 odds is just silly to me. I don't understand it at all. I'm rolling with it. Same thing with Bam Adebayo under 9.5 rebounds, +112. Again, no idea why this is at plus odds. Does not make sense to me. Just hit it. It should be at -115. It might have already moved. Let's go ahead and check that. Bam Adebayo. Yeah, we have him at 8.39. Lines moved pretty drastically. At FanDuel, it's +104. Still, it's at plus odds. +105 over at DK, +105 over at MGM, +104 over at FanDuel, +105 over at, yeah, it's why it's at plus odds. I have no idea. Jimmy Butler under 23.5 points. You can this -120 over at DK. Butler is averaging 22.1 points on the season. There's a 215 total in this game. It's going up against Phoenix. Bridges will likely be guarding Butler. Bridges is one of the best defensive wings in the league. We have him currently projected for 21.15. It's already moved to 22.5 in some spots. Yeah, go hammer this at minus 120 on 23.5. It's just a bad overall line. Javon Carter over 10.5 points, minus 113 over at FanDuel. Let's see if this has moved at all. Carter 10.5 minus 115. What did I get at? Minus 113. So moved very slightly. I mean, he's coming off 2 massive games in a row, still going to play a boatload of minutes, averaging 20 over the last 2 while Giannis coming back. It's not great for his production. It's still 10.5 points is just a bad overall line. Trae Young over 26.5 points, minus 115 over at Superbook, minus 120 over at Win. Trae Young is just shooting so much, just over and over again every single game. He's been very inefficient, shooting 30% from beyond the arc. He's much better than that. Shooting 39%, I think, or slightly under 39% overall. There's no reason that he should be shooting this badly. The volume has been fantastic. If the volume keeps and it keeps shooting this badly, this line's still too low. If he starts shooting how he should shooting, this should be over 31.5. Should be the line. So this is just an awful line here. Hammer the over. One of my favorite bets on the day. Draymond Green under 7.5 boards. He's averaging well under that on the season. Just too high of a line. His median outcome is at 6.5. This was a full board too high here. Matchup versus Pirtle. Not really a great one. This is an easy under. That's it. That's the show. Again, we keep crushing it. Go get signed up for scoresandodds.com. Just go. Again, running a pass. $169.99 for 6 months. If you were betting $10 per bet yesterday, you on what I gave out, you'd pretty much be paid up for the entire 6 months. Go. I mean, we're crushing it. We made like 20 grand each of the last 2 months. This one hasn't gotten as well. We had a few bad days, but still up money. Go. Get signed up. Out of here. Later, kids.